Crit status active. Orbital status standby.
What is up, nerdies? This
Well,
is Cosmodrome Radio, broadcasting. Oh my god. This is Cosmodrome Radio, broadcasting on all frequencies from here all the way to Saturn, just to make Toll happy. Because Mans has been doing fucking King's Fall nonstop since it came out, which we will get into here in a bit. But don't forget that it's such a good rating. But don't forget that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible, which I love that you can listen to podcasts on Audible, but it makes Amazon Music not worth it, and I feel bad. You can also check us on iHeartRadio if you like iHeartRadio. I know they try to push iHeartRadio so much, and it's hilarious. But yeah, you check us out there too. But yeah, you also can follow us on Twitter at Cosmodrome Radio. Make sure you check us out. You can rate the podcast on Spotify and Apple Music. Most of our listeners are on Spotify, so shout out to Spotify. But make sure that you support us, rate us. We're going to be doing some pretty cool things soon. In fact, we're doing a pretty cool thing tonight where we had an impromptu guest. So my name is Panda the Paladin. To my left, we have the man who does not sleep and only breathes Oryx's dick. We have Tolinator. How you doing?
What's up? I've only been playing King's Fall for the last.
Wait a minute.
Came out.
Did you say breathes his dick?
Yes.
I'm right up in. I'm right up in there when he spawns in.
Oh my god!
I did not need that mental image.
we have the best they them hunter we know. Prismatic, how you doing?
I'm good. Just getting ready for my new job to start.
watching
the fires start at my work, and I'm just like, oh, I don't have to put those out anymore.
And then impromptu guest who actually we Sherpa'd all the way to Daughters of Oryx earlier this week, and lore connoisseur of TikTok out here trying to take my name is Bife's job in these streets. We have JadeRabbitEmperor. How you doing?
Oh my god! Damn it!
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. A little tired, but insomnia. I'm still awake.
Oh, how are you?
You want to shout anything out before we get started?
Show me what you've got.
I guess that works. All right. So first thing, top of the hour before we dive deep into the thickness that is Oryx. The main thing that we wanted to shout out was there was a big thing that sort of swallowed the Destiny community today, was that there was a post originally made, I believe, on Facebook. Yeah, yes. It was Facebook. Where there was a post made in a dad group which said, May 2nd, 2020, my family and I lost my oldest to Ewing sarcoma, an aggressive pediatric cancer. The September before losing her was the first time I started asking those of you who would to go gold for the month of September, as it is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and gold is the color associated with it. No monetary gains, just a supportive gesture asked by one dad to others. So basically, the whole goal is to basically just to grab a shader that's gold, deck your characters out for the month of September. So there's even to the point that even the Bungie devs heard about this, and they even put out a list of partially gold, if not fully gold, shaders that are accessible to people. Like, if you might not have one, you have others. So just if you want to help support, show your support, post on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. Post your Guardians with some gold on. Help people show awareness for childhood cancer, because that stuff matters. That was the one thing we want to talk about at the top of the hour before we got into the thick of it, because God knows this raid was thick.
It is thick.
It's very thick.
Y'all sound so thirsty.
Bro, I'm not thirsting for Oryx. I'm thirsting for War Priest. That man is a distinguished gentleman, as you would say.
So pretty.
He's a thick boy, dude. That man.
Man out here with his cape flowing and shit like a badass. I love that man. But no. So, as everybody knows, friggin' I can't talk
English.
English is
Elysium
not
won
my.
third time in
Yeah,
a row.
Elysium won for the third time in a row. First, they won the Vault of Glass reprise, then they won Vow of the Disciple, and now they're winning. They won King's Fall reprised. And Bungie did a really cool thing where they had an interview with them in the TWAB. So definitely go check that out. We always link the TWAB like in the show notes, so make sure that you check it out if you haven't, or just like Google TWAB or check the Bungie Help Twitter. Like it's there. But make sure you check that out. I thought it was really cool. They talked to each of them and talk about how it feels to win 3 times and whatnot. I thought it was super cool. But I will say, contest mode hurt like a mother.
Oh, it was so brutal. It was brutal.
Shout out to Toll and the members of Sentinel Dawning who totally were doing totems wrong.
We were doing it away.
Y'all were like, like they were trying to keep one person on the Annihilator totems while trying to trade things back and forth, and it just wasn't working. That was great. But no, Toll, since you were with me in the thick of it for a good chunk of it, how did you feel about contest mode?
Oh, it was so much fun. Are you kidding me? I was surviving greatly. It's just everything is bullet spongy now. And it's just, oh boy. Gonna take an extra linear shot to kill this ad.
Is it really bullet spongy, or does it just feel like more like Dark Souls where things take a couple more hits to knock out?
It felt more bullet spongy.
I mean, I don't know. I like
contest
mode. I always enjoy
yellow and majors really felt bullet spongy.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed the majors because it actually felt like you needed to waste a clip or two to actually kill them. Because 9 times out of 10, usually like one clip of a gun can kill an ad in Destiny. So like being able to actually pump some bullets into something felt good for once. It wasn't like how say Glassway GM or something like that like feels where you're just getting your ass kicked. It felt like you actually could stand a chance if you fought hard enough. I love how War Priest, despite being a distinguished gentleman, as Prismatic would say, was the hardest hurdle for everyone to surpass on day one. Like everybody and their mama was getting stuck there.
How much health did that thing have when we fought it? Something like 16 million?
Oh yeah, because we fought him on Sunday, and like that man had so much health.
I know.
After contest mode was gone.
I know 4 people got 4 million damage, and 1 person got 6.
Yep, that was Toll. He got freaking 6 million damage.
Yeah.
Like it felt good that like the changes they've made to where like it feels as if you need to work to get this kill done. It was actually enjoyable. Like they even simplified Golgoroth, but that motherfucker's hitbox is still a problem.
Now that I've actually learned, I will say this: once you start playing Golgoroth a little more, you actually understand his hitbox. But at the same time, I've been taking his gaze. I'm getting him to lust after me. So
why do you gotta make it dirty?
I was gonna say that sounds subjective. Because
Golgoroth is just
like because you don't want them spider legs all over you. They're just crazy.
No.
Man. It's not fun. But now that we've had run the raid multiple times, Prismatic, how you feeling about like how it is and whatnot?
I went in having not watched any of the videos, where I probably should have, but I knew I wasn't going to be around for day one because of not having PTO, and so I'm glad there isn't really mantling in the tomb ships, but I forgot where to go, so I died quite a few times. I like what they did with totems because I feel like I always used to get screwed in D1 when I would be on totems. I'm not a huge fan of War Priest having all these extra goodies right out the gate, but you know, it is what it is. Golgoroth is great. Having the corrupted light actually be able to hurt him helps a lot doing damage. Daughters is pretty much the same, and then actually being able to DPS Oryx instead of only having to rely on the bombs, that's really satisfying when you get to the end. And I like the updated graphics and everything. It's really pretty.
I definitely have to agree with that. I think the most drastic change of atmosphere is Oryx's throne room. Like that room alone is just like like because before it had that weird green haze over everything, but now it feels like intimidating more so than what you saw back in the day.
Jade, what are your thoughts on the raid so far?
Yeah.
I never really got to do King's Fallback in D1. I only remember bits and pieces of it. But compared to other raids, it's a lot more enjoyable to me.
Why is that?
Because, like, Deep Stone is so heavy on the mechanics that one person screwing up can cause a wipe. This didn't feel like one person messing something up was going to cause a total wipe for everyone.
Oh no, totems can definitely do that to you.
But you can still save totems. There's still totems, you can still save it. Golgoroth, you can still save it. I actually get what you're saying, Jade, where it's like you have the opportunity to save the run.
Encounter, yeah.
Yeah. It's not punishing. It's actually a little bit more forgiving.
And not having champions everywhere is a plus to me too, because I hate champions in raids.
There's only one
why,
champion.
Why though? I'm curious because I enjoy it. I think it adds to, especially for the master versions, it adds a challenge. So I'm curious to why you think that.
Because it limits the options of weapons that you can bring into the encounter.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something like Overload Bow and you're in Deepstone, okay, that's not a problem. Trinity Ghoul, you can use it for ad control because every encounter is going to have a swarm of ads. But you don't really have like Overload. What is it this season? Overload.
Overload Bow and Overload Machine Gun.
Yeah, like the machine guns, like you were saying earlier. Like the machine guns just don't do enough damage to.
Yeah, I did say that before we go there.
Like, they don't feel like they do enough damage, so you're wasting your heavy ammo trying to stun one of the harder champions to deal with. If you don't get that stun off, all you've done is wasted your ammo.
Right. And honestly, I kind of feel you, but like I think where Vault of Glass kind of like balanced it was, especially for Master and Day 1 Vault of Glass, and like what I think all Master level content should really do is that should be where the like fight is, where you bring half of your like almost your whole inventory is full. You have specific weapons to choose from, and like I think the one thing that kind of is the caveat too is they don't lock your loadout like a Grandmaster either. You have the flexibility to change your loadout and figure what's the more punishing thing to the ads.
Yeah.
So I think the only downside really this season was the fact the machine gun decided to be an overload mod. Like if it was bow and like hand cannon like it was during season of the I think it was season of the Chosen. If it was like bow and hand cannon, you'd be great. You'd be fine, like especially for this one, or even like just had really good unstoppable anti-barrier mods for King's Fall. They had champions. Like I think it balanced itself out enough where the champions add a little bit of an edge to the higher level content. Now for normal raids, especially for Vault of Glass, I feel like having overload minotaurs in Gatekeeper was a little much, but you could easily just lament those. That ain't that big of a deal. But like I think champions being in the high end content is a lot of fun. But that's just me.
I mean, it does add another level of difficulty, but like I've said on TikTok before, I like it when the artifact mods give you a variety of weapons you can use. Like last season, we had Overload, Auto Rifle, and SMG all in one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I feel like Bungie needs to do more mods like that.
Or like one thing that I do appreciate that they did when they did have Season of the Splicer was they put fusion rifle and linear fusion rifle unstoppable all in one mod. Because having a linear and a fusion be separate would have been sucked.
Well, that was also the season of the broken linear fusion.
Yeah, the broken linear mod.
Mm-hmm.
When they go and try out different weapons, like last season, I was sad I never got to try out anti-barrier sidearm because I really wanted to just throw on a Forerunner and just pop a barrier champion because I thought that would have been so funny, but it just never worked, and I just
because Forerunner's damage is in precision hit, so those body shots and hitting the shield is just like absolutely nothing.
Right.
Yeah. That's why I think we might need to like dive more into champions, because there's been even a couple of different content creators on YouTube who have kind of said that like the artificial difficulty spike of champions, it was kind of just a band-aid over a wound in terms of what they think is the problem with Destiny's difficulty. And even right now, there's the talk of them changing the light level system or the difficulty system in general. And even I think like one of the devs even talked about it recently, that they want to like evolve it into something different. But honestly, I don't know what they even could really do, because we just keep rising in light level and not really knowing where to go other than like artificially change the difficulty. Like I even told Prismatic, the pirate hideout missions for this season, like the weekly thing, you fly through that like it's nothing. Like I did it this week today, and I like the only thing that stopped me from one-shotting it with a thunder crash was the fact that they kept putting up a shield around it every time we got like half the health bar down. So it's like that little artificial blockage, it can kind of like conflicts with you could have just made the dude hit harder and made him a little more bullet spongy, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it was also a reused map.
Bro, I really feel like Bungie thought they were slick. They just took a chunk of Mars and just put it in space. And I'm like, y'all thought y'all were real slick.
But we added Ice Guardian.
And we got rid of Aldrin's ship.
Like, that was just so funny. They said, we're taking all the Cabal stuff out of that Lost Sector and put in Fallen stuff and just shove it into space. And I'm like,
what if we
y'all
just
really
take
did
this
just like cut this whole asset
and move it over there?
I was on that roundabout path too, going, this looks familiar. I'm pretty sure this is from Mars.
Yeah.
It was so like, because like someone said it on like YouTube, and I was like, no, that can't be right. Then I go into it, I was like, those motherfuckers.
I mean, have you noticed
how dare
that like
you?
what is it? 2/3 of the catch crash is just reused assets.
Yeah, it's like reused moon assets, but like I can like
Not even that.
Let that one go.
One of the locations in it is the Elixir bar from the Tangled Shore.
Right, and like even in the, like part of it, like the one of the transitional hallways is one of the hallways from the crash catch on the moon over like the anchor of light. So it's like I can let that go because that's Elixir themed. You need Elixir themed stuff in an Elixir ship.
Well, it makes sense too that all the catches would look kind of similar on the inside, at least layout wise.
Right. So like I'll eat that one. Like you can reuse that asset, but like the Mars one was a little much. like they went in and carved that ice block out and said, "Here you go. It's in space."
They won't notice.
See, I don't really mind them reusing assets like that just because it's easier on them to actually develop the environment. They already have the skeleton there. They just have to like recolor it.
Be like, my issue with it is them reusing assets like this just tells me that Mars is just gonna sit there as Savathun's throne world for like 2 more years, and we're never gonna get actually Mars back. Like that's my fear.
I hope they do stuff with those fissures. I hope they explain it more.
Right, because it just really feels like we're not like going back to the Destiny content vault the way they said they would. They're just like, we're gonna cut this out and put it over here, like Jade just said. Like we're just gonna move it over here and like not actually pulling it. Now I will say the Leviathan, the way they did that was clever. I'll give you that. But
they still had like all of the out of bounds areas. They never finished.
Yeah.
Like,
So it was a little weird the way they did this, but was it still kind of cool? Yeah, I just needed that boss to be a little thicker. Is what I'm saying. Like it felt kind of like it just wasn't like I breezed through that thing so quickly, and I even did it before the patch before they fixed resilience. I went in there and just beat everybody's butt and just like sat behind walls because I was being difficult because I'm like I want my resilience fixed. I need it. Like because that was so frustrating doing the raid. To put us back on topic, the fact that you couldn't use arc abilities in the raid all weekend because hunters you could, but warlocks and titans, no matter how high you put your resilience, there was even one guy I tried to do 200 resilience I saw, and it's still nothing. Like your resilience counted for 0 in the code, and that just sucks.
It couldn't thunder crash or
Some people
There were some people who did. Yeah, they just kind of like clutched on their teammates to survive.
Yeah, I'm not that ballsy.
I'll tell you this tomorrow. I'm gonna do it. I want to see my body fly.
6-man thunder crash.
Oh my god,
Bro, that sounds amazing. But no, so like from there's the weapons discussion. There is some people who aren't happy about the fact that the shotgun, the rocket launcher, and the auto rifle from King's Fall did not return. But overall, as I pull up Light GG to look at these weapons, because I'm a little salty about some of these weapons.
why?
A touch of malice.
Well, I'll get the touch of malice.
Toll,
but like,
we all know you got touch of malice.
Because Toll's the only people in the clan that got touch of malice. Like,
there's I think 4 or 5 people now have it.
I thought it was just one other person besides you, but okay, that's cool. But no, like at first it was just Toll, and he was just going on for a hot minute, which is valid. It's touch of malice, but it was just like, bro.
That was one of my favorite guns back.
Should have heard the way he screamed when he saw it hit his inventory.
I got touch of malice.
Well, it's
like
his
mic broke. I was laughing my ass off. But no, so the biggest issue that I have with a lot of these weapons is they really gutted the perk pool, or just like didn't care about the perk pool for a lot of the things. Because like there's a couple of standouts, like the fusion rifle and the sniper rifle, but there's the scout rifle has a weird thing where it can have firefly and dragonfly, but like there's the machine gun and the hand cannon, the pulse rifle.
It has something interesting on it.
Well, it can do a couple of things, but in general, the perk pool is just kind of limited, especially the pulse rifle. The pulse rifle used to be one of the best workhorse pulse rifles in D1, and now its perk pool is horrendous. Like, I don't know what Bungie was thinking when they're over here, like, because Stats for All, One for All is a great role, but in general, like, there's nothing on it that's worth it. The new gunshot perk they made, not worth it, because the loss of target acquisition is just rough, and the body damage that you get isn't that much better to begin with than regular. So that's not worth putting on any of your guns.
On the hand cannon, Zawul's Bane, it actually is kind of nice.
I don't know, man. Like gunshot straight, it ain't hitting for me. Like, I might have to test it on the hand cannon, but for the pulse rifle, it's ass. I'm not feeling it. But now that you said the hand cannon, I might have to like grab like explosive payload and gunshot straight and mess around with. Oh wait, no, gunshot straight's in the third column, so I can't even do explosive payload. Dang it. So that changes that plan. But you can do Firefly, which I'm kind of liking the fact that a lot of these do the same thing that Vault of Glass did and brought back Firefly as a main perk. I really enjoy that. Do any of y'all have a standout for any of these guns? Because I'm just kind of salty about my pulse rifle.
I want that scout.
The scout does shoot nice.
I'm about to say it can 3-tap somebody in the Crucible.
Scout is definitely the top tier weapon.
Yeah.
I don't even care about 3-tapping. I just want to be a toxic prick and proc Dragonfly and Firefly with sweaty confetti on my chromatic fire.
That's honestly, I don't even blame you.
Enhanced Firefly and enhanced Dragonfly.
Yes.
That sounds so toxic. Oh my god.
And you always say I'm gonna be a
I'm
hooligan in Crucibles. This man over here.
I don't know, man. You over here blinking. You gonna do some
I have
crazy
not
shit.
used Blink at all. You want to know why? Because I kill myself with Blink.
But going back to King's Fall really quick, I want to give Bungie like a hand for how well they remastered this raid.
Most
It
definitely.
looks so good. Oryx
Yes.
looks fucking amazing. You just look at him and it's like, oh my god, you actually have color.
Like Oryx looks
Color
good.
pigmentation. You have you can see all the bone, the sinew, all the different little crevices on him.
Yes.
It's just
he looks just as good as freaking Savathun does now. Like
Yeah.
you see the detail. Freaking Golgoroth looks amazing. War Priest,
Fancy.
Prismatic said the line.
What a distinguished gentleman.
Like he looks great. So like
I just like how we like kill him and then everybody's like pilfering his body for armor.
pretty much,
It's
yeah.
that, or you get the hooligans like we have, where you're trying to explain it, and there's a bunch of people in the background going and touching the ball panda and killing themselves over and over and over again as you're trying to explain it.
But see, the reason why I did it is because it reminded me of Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, like the old animated TV show that Buzz Lightyear had, where like all the little green men had the Unimind. So like they had this giant sphere mind that like helped them think. So they would be like, "We are one, we are united." So I'm like, "The Unimind," and just like I'm killing myself. That was a really dated reference from the '90s that like nobody is gonna understand, and I don't care.
I actually understand that. I knew that one.
I'm not the oldest person.
Like, is that even on Disney Plus? I might have to look, but that's beside the point. But no, Jade, like your loot is limited. But did you get anything besides the scout that you're really feeling?
I only got 3 bonds, a chest piece, and a machine gun.
Bro, I forgot. You were so mad. You got like your 3rd bond and you were ready to throw the controller.
I was like, screw this.
That's funny you say that, because on my warlock I got 3 sets of robes from that raid in the same run.
God. Well, and what's even funnier is that like after we logged out when we all had to go to bed because we got stuck on daughters, because you were having trouble staying alive, we found out on the class item there's a perk you can, or just on any of the armor, there's a perk, a mod you can put on for 1 energy called what's it called, Toll? Fucking run for, like it was run for your life, wasn't it, Toll?
Yes.
Yeah, it's run for your life, where it gives you extra mobility and extra resilience when you have the taken energy on.
Really?
What the heck?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at any of the armor and one of the mods, and it's not elemental, it's just a mod where it says if you're taken, like doing that part of like for daughters and Oryx, you have enhanced mobility and enhanced resilience while taken.
I'm gonna look.
It's actually kind of clutch, so we'll have to try that. Also, special shout out to the fusion rifle, because that thing with reservoir burst is scary.
Oh, you can also stack run for your life.
Yeah, you can stack it, so you could have like 5 pieces of armor with run for your life on it, just fucking haul ass.
Get out of the way!
Like no exotic, just run for your life. Oh, I love that they named it "Run for Your Life." Like that's just great. So I'm somebody that's only done D2 raids plus the 2 reprise raids. So if I had to give my ranking, I've done D2 raids from Last Wish on. I haven't done any of the Leviathan layers, or I did Eater of Worlds. But I didn't complete it. But for what I've done all the way to the boss. As a ranking for what I've done, I would definitely say King's Fall is pretty close to the top in terms of like fixes and greatness and like theming and lore and like the challenge of it, especially even on the regular difficulty now because War Priest is a kick in the butt. I think I'm going like Deepstone, Vault, King's Fall, Garden, Last Wish, Vow. Yeah, like
Third Encounter has really ruined Vow for you that bad.
Bro, third encounter is a nightmare. Like, and I don't mean a nightmare as in like you can't like it's a pain in the butt to complete. It's a pain in the butt to complete when you're teaching or when people fall out of a habit or in just there's so much like his last wish has a lot. Actually, as a matter of fact, I take that back. Last wish is at the bottom. Vow is at the head of last wish. I'll take that back because last wish is just so convoluted and that there was so much they didn't fix post release that last wish is just a pain in the ass. So it can go last, and then Eater of Worlds will be in last place, then last wish, then vow. But the fact that I can teach Garden of Salvation better than people can understand Vow of the Disciple is sad because there's so many mechanics, so many symbols, and then especially if newer people aren't used to the artifacts like the shield and the Taken Blight and the little diamond nut thing from earlier like raids, they're not gonna want to mess with that.
It's
like,
too mechanically heavy.
It's very mechanically heavy. Jay just hit it on the nose. It's very mechanic heavy. And when I can just tell people in Garden of Salvation, just play Gambit, and they understand it. But Vow is, there's so many mechanics that it's to the point that there's some runs we've done where people just don't pick up the artifact because they're so trained from previous raid experiences to just do ad clear because nobody wants to teach them properly that they don't want to like learn and actually understand things. Then when you ask them, hey, why didn't you pick that up? Because I don't know it. Do you want to learn it? Well, I've always been on ad clear. That's not your fault. Let's teach you something. And it's to the point where third encounter being done for hours in one night just burnt me on it. I love the lore of it, but the mechanic heaviness of it, even from the first encounter, is just too much for some people. So it's like it's burnt me. Maybe it might rise up in a couple years, but like I don't know. Right now, it's close
on a run not too long ago, I did third encounter chaos mode, like you would do third encounter deep stone chaos mode, and it was the most exhilarating fucking run, not knowing who was going where, who was grabbing what. It was terrifying and a lot of fun because everybody kind of knew. But I understand teaching's a pain in the butt. I'm just surprised that you would put Vow so low on the list.
Well, and like, don't get me wrong. There's been runs we've done where, like for your birthday run recently, where we killed third encounter. That thing was done in 2 runs. We had one mess up on the first run, and then the second run we were done. But like every other time I've done that raid, man, it's just like I will say, is it a raid I prefer sometimes because I love that it's mechanic heavy because it forces people to learn? Yes, but has it just burnt me because I did too much like the past 2 seasons? Yes. So I'm going to put it in terms of like enjoyableness in the mid tier for now, and it might fluctuate as time goes on. Do either of y'all want to like rank your favorite raids? Like, because I've only done so many. Y'all probably have more than
go next.
Okay. So
I'll let Jade go.
I actually have a bit of a take on this. In my opinion,
okay.
Every raid should have a bit of leniency towards new players. The reason, in my opinion, Deep Stone is so difficult for new people trying that raid for the first time is because everyone has to know their role. You can't really have someone who is on ad control and watching someone else. Like when I did Vow for the first time, my job was ad clear and escorting another player and watching what they did. And I learned what their role was in the raid by just protecting them and keeping up with them. In something like Vow in the third encounter, you can't do that. It's just too much chaos. And the problem with like third encounter is for a new player, it's like a more experienced player who might not have like the patience to keep doing the encounter over and over and over again, is they're going to get frustrated eventually and they're just going to want to get it over with. And that can lead to problems with, between teammates and more experienced players trying to teach new players.
Yeah, if you're going to teach that, you really got to have a good, like, chill team to teach Vow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just have a whole pack of new people, otherwise it'll go hectic.
Yeah.
Well,
now too,
on
I
that
do
real
want to
quick,
say to your point though.
On that real quick, I did do a teaching raid for Garden of Salvation where all 5 other players had never done it before. and we got all the way up
I've
to
done
the
that.
boss, having done all of the puzzles before we were just like, screw it, we'll come back tomorrow.
Oh my god.
See, I've done that before where I've had a whole crew garden, but like the trick with garden is if you gotta really bear with people with garden, and once you break down the mechanics in a simple way, like for second encounter, I just say it's reverse baseball, and for some reason, because of pop culture, it always just clicks with people. And the way I run my gardens, 9 times out of 10, like except for like maybe last encounter, because people are hard headed, everyone understands. Like I usually can get through everything but last encounter in less than an hour, and then everyone struggles with final encounter because the mechanic, it's very mechanic heavy. So like, even though it should be simple, but like then for Deepstone, I think the reason why I like Deepstone is so high on my list, not only from a lore perspective, but I enjoy mechanic heavy raids when you can explain them to people. Because I'm the hard headed person that will explain every role to somebody. That way, when they do their job, they can turn around and do someone else's job later. Like I'm that person.
Yeah, I've always found that teaching raids for a new player, it's always best to give the new player the easiest job on the team and then slowly teach them the other roles. Because for me personally, I can't, like in Vault of Glass, I cannot see the oracles. So in the boss phase, I always have to take the Aegis, the shield. But in the other encounters throughout the raid, I can do anything at all because I've done those encounters so many times now, and I've gained that experience. But for a newer player, they have to kind of find their role, what they're going to be best at on the team. And it's not always the right thing to try and force them to learn another role if it's going to cause them or even the team problems.
I
That's a
always
great way to
give,
look at that.
if I'm teaching or helping out, I try to give people the option. Like, do you want to learn something or do you just want to hang out? Obviously, can't really do that in boss encounter on Deepstone because everybody's got to grab a bomb. But I like to give people the option.
And see, what's always funny about Final Boss for Deepstone is everyone's always like, you explain it so much easier than other people. It's because everyone else like makes Tannic such a pain in the butt that people can't enjoy it. But I make it so simple to the point that Prismatic started teaching other raid teams.
Everybody that I have showed it, that I have said it to, says like, "Oh my god, that's so much easier than how we do it." I'm like, "Cool."
So when we did Garden, when we ran moats, right, in that big diamond field, the way I taught that encounter is, you know how before you get into that encounter, there's that kind of big room right before you get to it?
Yeah.
So I literally had everyone stand in a big diamond shape. And I told them, this is where you're going to be. And these two people are going to be running back and forth to you guys. And everyone was like, oh, that is so much easier than trying to learn it actually while we're running through the encounter. And we got it on the second try.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Pretty interesting way. I like that.
So how does Kingsfall like rank up in terms of like your raid history?
It is difficult without being like tedious with the mechanics. Like it doesn't lean on the mechanics to be difficult. It just is difficult. And that, in my opinion, makes it one of the best raids. Especially War Priest. Okay. Oh my god, that distinguished king gentleman.
Oh my god.
Like, War Priest is, to me, what every raid encounter should be. It is difficult. It is nerve-wracking, but it is adrenaline-inducing. It's a rush. It feels good. Even if you fail, you see those damage numbers, and you're like, holy crap.
That's a great way to look at it, actually, yeah.
The fail for the damage has become such a thing recently in the clan.
Well, that's why I always tell people, it's like, when you first do like learn the raid, never worry about damage. But once you have it down pack, you can just like flex. You can flex your damage because like there's motherfuckers who just get stuck on divinity and can't do damage. But then when you get your weapons the way you need to, you can start putting in work.
Hey, div chads are amazing.
Div chads.
Div chads.
It's div bitch, bro. Like you gotta say div bitch. Like it's just the thing.
Nah, their chads are pulling up divinity, so the rest of us can do DPS.
Well, Toll, where does Kingsfall rank in your raid ranking then? Since you want to be the Chad,
it's in my top 3.
Ooh, okay. What's your top 3 then?
So, y'all can come at me, but I love Scourge of the Past.
I could actually teach
so
that.
Oh.
Why would I come for you?
I miss Scourge.
Some people will. That raid is so much fun. It was so it was a very basic raid, but it had so many fun encounters that it didn't feel basic. Like the opening encounter, it was a little challenging to learn, but you got to wander around the last city killing Fallen. It was so much fun. Then you go into the tunnel maze, and after you get through the tunnel maze, you get to the Sparrow race, and the Sparrow race is
I've
fucking
never had so
wild.
much fun dying repeatedly as I have on that fucking race.
And then you get to the final boss, and it's Cap, by the way. To anyone out there who thinks that, you're wrong. It's CAP. Always has been, always will be.
Don't know their
We're really doing this right now.
That's the only one I'm doing. I'm not getting to front it. We're not getting to front or back.
Bro,
we're not doing this.
We're not doing this. We're not doing
We're
it.
not doing this.
We're not doing it.
We're not doing it.
We're not doing this.
We're not doing that. That is the end of that discussion. After that, I'm that person who actually likes Vow and the Disciple. I think it's a very fun raid.
I didn't say it wasn't a fun raid. I'm just saying I'm tired of it.
Third encounter is just a pain in the butt, but if you have someone who teaches it and knows what they're doing, you can get it done in one clear. As long as someone doesn't bonk their head.
Are you saying I don't know what I'm doing?
I know what you're doing. Oh, I know what you're doing.
Go ahead.
And then after that is Kingsfall for me.
Okay.
I think
Prismatic.
so. Kingsfall for me is in top 4, and my top 4 looks almost exactly like Toll's, except for I'm gonna add Deepstone into that because I actually, aside from getting stuck on Taniks for 8 hours day 1, I actually really enjoy Deepstone Crypt. I love Deepstone Lullaby. I love all of it.
Deepstone Lullaby makes the whole raid worth it.
No joke, and I tell people this all the time, and I don't think they believe me. I am a huge emotional fucking sap. The first time I walked out into space and that started playing, I got choked up because I was like, this is why I play this game. Like, this is gorgeous. And so...
Also, like, shout out to Lucky 10P for putting the, 10-hour version of Deepstone Lullaby on YouTube. You're a Chad.
Prismatic and I are very similar in our rankings. I just have Deepstone at number 4 for me.
If we're going off of raids that are still here, it'll be Deepstone, probably Vow, and then Kingsfall. If Scourge is there, Scourge is going to be number 1 because Scourge is one of the only times I felt confident enough to actually teach a raid by myself, and I would take whole groups of my friends where I'm the only person that knows what's going on, and I would teach them from the get-go, and I would tell them, hey, we're probably not going to get this on our first run, but that's okay because I can show you where to go and what to do, and then we can repeat it and get it done, and it'll be fine. Sans the race because I can't make people survive and get the time extenders. But, Scourge of the Past is the one time I felt actually confident teaching something like that.
That's dope. Now for the conversation that I've been dreading, but because Clyde started it on TikTok and then I got into it. I want to talk about the weapons in Vow and Kingsfall being craftable. Because I feel as if it was a mistake. Because now we're in this sort of this Pandora's box waiting to open situation where no one's wants to do master content unless they're chasing the seal for Vow. And here in a minute, it's going to be the same situation for Kingsfall versus Master Vaults of Glass, where the weapons weren't craftable, but it was the first one to give us adept weapons for a raid. And I feel like that was the cream of the crop, best way to do it. Like that was where you grinded your butt off to get the content. But now we're in a situation where the only way for Bungie to make adept raid weapons worth it is to make them also craftable, because the only thing that makes adept weapons worth it is that they can use adept mods. There's my like hot take. How we feeling?
I kind of feel like once you've gotten a crafted weapon up to a certain level, you should be able to put an adept mod on it. Like an absurdly high level, like maybe level 100, but at that point,
Oh, I thought sound all
mean,
only cut out for me.
oh no, I was
same. I was like, "Well, is he okay?"
I was just kind of cutting myself off. Like, I mean, at that point, the weapon, you've used the weapon for so long. I don't see a point in like limiting the adept mods to only adept weapons, even if the adept mod on a crafted weapon would be weaker than it would be on an actual adept weapon.
Right.
Maybe the cap could be like level 50.
What's funny is you say that, and then like there was a guy who did like an out of bounds clan run of Garden of Salvation in 11 minutes, and his forbearance crafted from Vow the Disciple was level 500, because there's some PC people that just brain did all, like macro their levels from their crafted weapons. How do you kill that which has no life?
But it's like, make it obtainable for at least some casual players. Like level 50, I feel like would be a good spot to put it, because it makes you have to grind towards it, but not have to like fully put your life into that weapon.
I just feel like crafting was a
mistake, guys, because I feel like a lot of higher tier things should be locked behind those higher tier content things. I don't think that casual players should have access to everything in the game, because I don't think the game should just be for casual players. I think there should be higher tier things besides trials that people that actually like grind at it can obtain.
See, that's where I think me and Prismatic agree, because it's like there was a whole thing with Vault of Glass being a master raid now, where there's still people who every time the rotation comes around do Templar to get a Fatebringer time loss. There's still people who grind for spoils, that way they have a chance for a found verdict time lost. Like the Bungie perfected the grind loop with Master Vogue, because they were able to be like, cool, you have a chance to get that gun, but if anything, the raid should be the end all be all content that you have to grind and go back into to get the loot that you want. But now, especially with crafting being into play, if you make the best of the best of the best serve for Men in Black freaking weapons be craftable, then what's the point of having them anymore? Well, you could have adept weapons, but what if the adept weapons aren't better than the crafted ones? What comes next? Craftable adept weapons. And then you have situations like now with Mindbender's Ambition coming back into the loot pool as an adept weapon, where they gutted the perk pool for it. So even when a weapon is craftable, not all the perks are like in the game are craftable for the gun. So crafting in some cases isn't even worth it if it's an adept weapon. You just go for it because it's an adept weapon. So I think if anything at this point, Bungie just sort of like shortened the time you have to be on the hamster wheel by making raid weapons craftable. Which I'm with Prismatic. I think that was a mistake.
Well, there's a simple solution to that. Give weapons that you get from the raid, let them roll with perks that you can't craft them with.
Ooh, that's actually good.
Yeah, like the raid only perks you can't craft.
Exactly. It's like every craftable weapon has 6 perks it has in the 3rd and 4th column. So add in another 3 or 4 perks in those columns that can only drop from the weapons from the raid.
I'm also
Actually,
I'm also kind of with Panda.
I
I
love
don't
that.
think they should have made raid weapons craftable because it does take away from the grind of it. I'm also, and I know I put this in your comments, Panda, give me back my dynamic ornaments, my fancy raid armor, my, regular and master raid, make them different. Give me raid exclusive shaders that are random drops so you have to grind it. Like glow, like,
Mm.
The ones from Last Wish.
yeah, give me.
Or like not even that. Like, yeah, make there be content worth grinding for. Like put a memento. Put a shader that doesn't require you to get a flawless run. Make it be a random drop chance. Like make the content worth grinding.
So I went into Master Vow completely forgetting that there were adept weapons. I was only there for the challenges. And then I happened to luck out, and according to one of our clanmates, I got the God Roll Cataclysmic Adept. Didn't even realize I was holding on to it. I knew it was a good one. I just didn't know that it was apparently one of the best linears in the game. I got one of the best adept submachine guns, and I got the one of the best adept was it scout or pulse rifle from Vow?
Pulse
Oh,
rifle.
you got the
Yeah,
best.
so
the
like
God
I've
roll
lucked
pulse
out.
rifle, yeah.
RNG's left me there for some reason, but won't give me a goddamn Blue Braze Ruin. But that's neither here nor there.
We'll say this about the crafted weapons. It feels like it take now with the updates and getting your patterns done, but even leveling it up, part of me would just rather go get an adept weapon than
Well, and
level it up.
I don't hardly craft at all.
'Cause honestly,
So
just
like with All Might saying like you're gonna have to have the Taipan leveled up, like I don't craft weapons for shit. I just find rolls that I like.
the
See, and
Taipan is
that's a-
actually one of those weapons that
well, and
actually
like
deserves merit.
right, and that's actually something I wanted to talk about is Taipan. Taipan, like the new Taipan RF4 is a linear fusion rifle because I think Bungie kind of saw that they were gonna make linears the best DPS weapon, and they knew they were gonna have Galahorn or Kick situation again, where there's some things like Reed's Regret Adept or Reed's Regret Period that you could only get trials for. There's things like the dungeon that you have to buy to get Storm Chaser if you didn't have the deluxe edition of Witch Queen. There's things like freaking Cataclysmic that has to have the raid. If you don't have Witch Queen, you can't get that. But like if you just only have the game and you do the new quest, you get a free linear fusion rifle that's one of the best in the game, if not the best now, because of having enhanced triple tap and enhanced firing line. That it shows they actually are trying to give the casual something to work toward. So like, I'm kind of with the perspective that like crafting it shouldn't be the end all be all, but like I think Bungie kind of threw casuals
Which is
a bone
fine.
a little bit.
I as someone who doesn't craft, when I saw that message about that being required, it was a turn off for me because it's like I don't craft.
He said required, and I needed to correct him on that. It won't be required. That's a clan thing. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that because he spoke out of pocket about that because he was excited about being a new raid leader.
Whatever.
But
When I seeing that, as somebody who doesn't craft weapons, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, let me collect more of these things because I need them for a triumph, not because I'm actually going to craft them.
Right. So that's just a bad circumstance, which kind of sucks. But that was like everything we wanted to talk about this episode. Toll, I know you want to pick Jade's brain about lore.
Well, no, it's more because I've been looking at the Lightfall poster, and it's like you see Osiris, and I'm thinking next season is gonna be a big Osiris season, and I'm really hopeful about that.
Yup, I'm so excited.
But then there's this mysterious Cabal figure there, and I'm like,
you know who it is.
It might not be Callus. It could be.
You talking about the big
Jade, tell him.
dude in the pyramid shaped thing? Yeah, that's Callus.
Dang.
Like, it's so obvious because because if you're looking at the poster for Lightfall, he has like a weird sort of like bladed face a little bit, like the weird cabal folds of his face.
Callus.
All I hear right
I
now
do
is
hate their
Prismatic going, I
face.
hate their face. But no, like you can see that it's probably just Callus's final form as a disciple, similar to how Rolk went through a transformation. That's all it's gonna be.
I mean, it wouldn't even be
Yeah.
his final form. It would be a new body because we know in the lore from what was his name? Catavices, the hunter that died on the Glycon. So according to him,
Yeah.
that Callus was like a pile of goo in a test tube at this point. There was just
Which contradicts the Lightfall trailer because it shows him about to be put into a machine as like he's this weird
Maybe he's not in
molten
a vat. Maybe
gray
it's him.
cabal.
yes.
Maybe it's Callus soup.
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure that him giving himself over to the darkness and becoming a disciple, the witness gives him a new body.
Yeah. Okay. Toll, are you going to use your time to talk to Jade on the podcast, or are you going to just sit there like a fanboy?
Well, no, that actually answered my question of like trying to figure that out because I was so confused.
There's nothing else you want to ask him?
Not really. That was like my biggest question.
Wow, I'm so disappointed. Like he was like nutting before the show, talking about, oh, I want to talk to him about lore. I'm now when Bife if I can forget Bife for the show, I'm gonna lose my shit. But actually, no, Jade, there's something I do want to pick your brain about while we're sitting here. So Toll has had and he even asked you about it while we were while we were on the moon thing. About or maybe it was someone else he asked, but he asked in the hive structures on the moon, in the little plants they have in certain places.
Oh yeah.
It looks like egregore to him because of I was of the belief that it's just worms or whatever the heck from hive breeding. But like I wanted to to give him his 2 seconds of fame when it came to it and see if there was any credence to the idea that there's just egregore fully around us that we didn't know about.
You're talking about the fungus stuff that's stuck to all the walls?
Yeah, like the fungus stuff.
No.
Yeah.
They explained it back in D1. I can't remember what it's called, but it's some kind of artificial growth that the hive produce.
Gross.
It's supposed to be, if I remember right, it's supposed to be something that's native to their planet or some crap like that.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay. Because I was sitting there, I'm like, there's a lot of egregore
Titan,
around on this
too.
ship. Which makes sense because Oryx is is Oryx technically was Oryx technically a disciple of the Witness?
Nah.
To my knowledge,
I don't think so.
Savathun was the only true disciple.
The Deep taught him how to take, but he wasn't a disciple of the Witness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say to that. But we definitely will have to have you back on as lore intensifies, especially this season with all the stuff that's coming out. Like Beastrax almost whipped somebody's throat today.
Very happy to see that head come off those shoulders. Let me tell you, you're gonna hear me say it all season.
It gave me green boots.
there
Green
was a fun
boot with one mobility.
So many people thought that was a
How am I supposed to
bug.
use that?
Bro,
Oh, I know.
it wasn't
but
a
so
bug.
many
It was
people thought
Spider being a
bug.
dick.
Just
why did you think that was a bug, bro? That was legit Spider.
Oh,
he even says
darn.
better luck next time, Guardian.
Green armor.
he did
How
that stuff on
unfortunate for
purpose.
you.
yeah, Spider's a prick.
It wasn't even for a hunter. I was on a hunter and I got Titan legs.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I did the quick train
Glimmer.
quest, part 3, and I got a 1350 seasonal weapon.
Oof.
Ooh.
Oof. I think they patched that today, though. With the issue of the roll not being the right light. I think they patched that today. So yeah, no. But no, Jade, you are our guest. Is there anything that you want to end the show with? Like obviously well, hopefully you'll be on the feature if you don't hate us. But we want to know, like, is there anything you want to
Not
talk
at the
about?
moment. This is kind of impromptu, so I didn't really have anything in mind that I really wanted to talk
Just want
about.
to come hang out with the cool cats, you know.
All right. Dope. Well, I will say we would definitely have to have you back on, especially because like people. Like, I definitely want to do an episode where we cover basic lore for newer players because, like, yeah, you can watch my video, but like it's not always digestible because yes, I can listen to that man talk all day, but some people can't, and that's sad. But I want to
That's the
help.
voice of an
So we
Yes.
definitely will. Yes.
Yeah.
Like it just by you are amazing. You will always have an invitation on the show. But no, definitely, Jay. We need to have you back because like I feel as if as things get more intense, your wisdom will be needed.
Oh, I feel honored and terrified.
This season has so many questions. This season
You
has so
survived
many
a raid
question
with
marks for
us.
me that it's like I'm waiting to see if there will be an answer.
I must say, yeah, you survived a raid with us. I feel like you'll be
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I've survived worse.
All right. Well, is there anything you want to leave the people who listen to us as a
Lubba
closing
dub
statement?
dub.
Lord help us all. Prismatic, what do you want to
really.
add?
I thought it was really neat in the TWAB to see the numbers for how many people actually turned out for the day one and for King's Fall. Like almost 2 million hours in King's Fall. I thought that was all really neat to see the community come together.
Mm-hmm. I must say, yeah, 1,989,371 hours in normal, 208,000
And watching the
295
amount
in
of people
challenge.
that dropped off from like the
That's-
200, was it 200,000 Guardians or whatever that started?
Total Guardian deaths 33,665,322 in the normal, 2,825,235 in the challenge mode.
I'm concerned that you just have these
That's
numbers.
It's in the
pathetic.
pulled
TWAB.
up.
I have the TWAB in front of me. This is why we link the TWAB in every episode, because people don't read the TWAB.
I was reading
Give
it
him the
at
TWAB
lunch,
this week.
talking to
Or
Adam,
anything
who
important.
doesn't particularly
Oh,
care,
like-
but we'll just go,
like I-
that's interesting.
Also,
Yes.
we must protect Ido at all costs. Also, we totally skipped over skill-based matchmaking, but honestly, I want to save that for an episode where like we actually like don't have a whole big plate especially because of the fact that skill-based matchmaking wasn't on until like last Thursday because of a glitch where there was just no matchmaking
Oh,
in
yeah.
the game whatsoever for like
I'm
2
glad I
days.
didn't go to PvP.
Where they said, "Hey, PC players and like your KD, like doesn't matter, and like everybody's in one pool." And
We
it's
also
like,
didn't
what?
touch on Arc
Are you
3.0
crazy?
like
Yeah,
we said we're going to, but that's okay because they just fixed it today.
Yeah, I feel like next week will be R3.0 because that way me and Toll can do some Titan testing and we can mess around with Warlock a little bit because like we did the new Titan exotic was off half the week. We just got it back today. We figured out why it was disabled because they turned it back on for 5 minutes, and we found out that the secondary lightning strike could one shot somebody even after
Through
like
Lorelei.
after like even just barely charging the fist melee. It could kill somebody. Even while wearing Lorelei's Splinter Helm, you can one shot
God.
somebody. So that's why that shit was turned off. But now the lightning strikes are really cool, but I don't think it's gonna be as powerful as that. I'll say that. But you know, so we will be back next week. Don't forget, folks, you can check us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those great places like Amazon and Audible. We will definitely be opening up our Discord soon. That way, people get to like collab with us and then, like support the show. So get ready for that. Jay, thank you for being on this impromptu episode. We
Oh, hell
appreciate
yeah.
you coming through.
I've been looking forward to this.
Nice. And we will definitely have to have you back on in the future because this was fun. And then just like make sure you follow us on Twitter, y'all. Like we wanna and we would love to answer y'all's questions about the game. Like I know the community hates my hot takes sometimes on TikTok, but like we would love to answer some of y'all's questions. So like please send questions, whether it be through TikTok or through Twitter, so we can answer them on the show. We will catch you next week here on Cosmodrome Radio.
Bye.
See you, Starside Guardians.